And a lot of people don't realize that the water that's in the tank of your toilet, that's potable
So,
water.
what do you drink it with a straw out of the bowl, or how do you do that?
Hey there, welcome back to, hopefully back to, the Gun Cranks. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Weed, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale and Roy Huntington. And this is the second of several in our preparedness series. So in our previous episode, we talked about food, something I try to partake of on a regular basis, but we're going to talk about something that's actually much more important to your, especially long-term survival, and that is water. So, gentlemen, it was funny. I was kind of doing my show and tell with the guys, and Roy said, really need to hit record, okay? So we're going to record. But water
Great,
is
now we
critical.
get to hear it all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Well, obviously, water is pretty darn critical. You can even die within a few hours if it's really hot, you don't have enough of it. But we're talking about preparedness in the sense of being prepared for, say, 30 days. So I think the big thing for most households, though, guys, and I'll throw this out for discussion, I think the big thing is just make sure you got a case or two or three of bottled water sitting around, just as part of always having it. And I always rotate it around, and I know it's not environmentally conscious and but it's always nice to have on hand. And if there's an emergency, it's certainly nice to have, say, 2 or 3 gallons in a ready-to-use bottle that will just sit there and not bother anybody until you need it.
See, I'm doing my thumbs up for those on audio because I agree with that, but I think more.
Okay.
I mean, you got to do the math on the water because, I mean, it's like a gallon a day-ish per person. You can do less than that, but it goes quick. And,
it does.
That's what we do. We like to drink bottled water out doing yard work and stuff. So every time we go to Costco, we buy another case or two and just keep adding to the pile and use the old one, throw it in the fridge, drink it, and then keep stocking up. So depending on how many people you got, do a little math in advance on drinking water. That's one of the first things to go. I don't know about you guys, but we can get a hurricane coming through here. The water is gone bad, dirty, undrinkable. So you either got to boil it. And if there's no electricity or gas, that's challenging.
Well, Roy, something tells me you've got 3 spare wells and a desalinization plant in your basement.
Well, I only have 2 wells. So I have one for the house, and then I have another one up by the pole barn, and they're both supplied by the generator. But I still keep backup water around, and I think there's something that people often don't remember, and that is that if you know there's a hurricane coming, they don't usually strike like, oh my gosh, a hurricane's striking right now, well, you fill both your bathtubs up if you have that, and any other containers like you have that. Fill every jar you have in your kitchen, every bowl you have in your kitchen if you really think it's going to get ugly. And a lot of people don't realize that the water that's in the tank of your toilet, the flush tank behind you, that's potable water. So the first thing you do is you don't flush your toilet. You go potty outside if you need to, if you need that water. So it's there. You just have to be smart about it.
Drink it with a straw out of the bowl, or how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, we all know where the dogs drink it from.
Yeah. Well, and the water heater too. That's
the water heater.
30, 40, 50 gallons of city potable water that you can, and all of them have a spigot on the side.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the tub liners?
Yeah.
They're like giant plastic bags with a screw cap and a faucet.
Yep.
So you don't even have to worry about sterilizing your tub.
Yep, you're exactly right. It fills the whole tub up in a bag thing. I agree completely. Yep. I think, but if you took those basic, things and then back it up with the device like Brent will tell you about, which is some kind of a, microbe filter thing, then you're pretty much good to go. Like we also have a farm pond, and so really, I've got whatever it is, a half an acre of water there, but you would still need to filter it somehow. So,
yep, and that's kind of the way I've always looked at it. We're blessed with plenty of surface water around here, both ponds and streams. So I'm a big one on having water filtration or purification. And starting off with, everybody should at least have a box of water purification tablets. They're $10. They generally, I forget how long they last. They're not forever and ever, but For $10, you slip them in your preparedness supplies, and it will help you purify a lot of water. And, hopefully that'll get you actually through the crisis. But aside from that, which I stick in all my vehicles and survival kits and all that stuff, really a filter is a good way to go. And I had to laugh. We were talking about food, and Roy said, well, yeah, you get one of those straws that you can suck, toilet water. Well, I've got one of those. It's called Life Straw. And I thought this was the end-all, be-all for a while, and I've used them. The trouble with these things is, especially if you're outdoors like hiking or fishing, I tried to use this fishing, not working out that well, then you got to get down on all fours and suck the water.
You're on your belly.
So you're on your belly. They do work pretty good. I've actually drank out of the Ohio River and survived. So
with the Life Straw, I hope, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you got to filter the big chunks out.
The dead bodies and stuff,
Yeah.
you got to filter those out. Okay.
And it tastes like chicken noodle soup, but it is potable. You can drink it. So, no, in all seriousness, these are a good option for short-term emergency use. The one thing that I really think is cool, I've just discovered these, and they've been around for a while, actually, and you can get them at Wally World. It's the Sawyer Squeeze filter. And here's the actual filtration unit. And you can buy a kit with these in the outdoor section of Walmart. It comes with a couple of these flexible water bladders. And it's real simple. You fill this with dirty water, you screw it into the filter, and then you can either squeeze this and suck on the end, kind of like a hydration system, or you can hang it and let gravity do the work slower, but you're not standing there, it's hanging, and you can put a container under it and get all the water you need. So they come in different sizes, and they do make tabletop type models, for if you want to make a whole bunch of water, or you live where you don't have clean water, like in Africa, they're used a lot there. But anyway, I really recommend these. I think they're a good option for folks that just want to stick this back in their preparedness supplies. Should keep forever. And like I said, you get a couple of those dirty water containers, and let gravity do the work, and you'll be good to go on filtered water. So
I swear I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I'm hoping it says on that bag there, just the one you just held up. I'm curious as to the Sawyer one. How much water is that? Like a half gallon or a gallon or?
32 ounces.
Okay, so that's what, a quarter gallon?
Quart, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know about pints and quarts, but
Yes.
okay. But
So
you said you can
with the
get bigger ones too if you want to hang it up and supply a couple of people for a while. That's cool.
Yep. And they make these flexible bladders up to like 2 gallon size. So I'll probably get one of those and just stick it back in my supplies. So,
people talk about, I'll just boil water. Well, have you ever actually done that and done it to live on? Because it's a real pain, and it uses a lot of fuel, and you might be on propane or canned propane, or you're on your camp stove. It takes a long time to boil whatever, a gallon of water. And so now you have to let it cool down, right? And you're thirsty. And then you use X amount for cooking, X amount for drinking. Guess what? It's time to boil another gallon of water, So
it's an all-day job.
It's
continuous,
a constant,
right?
it's a continuous job. It really is. And so just be aware.
Yep. And one last thing I was going to share, and I've messed around with all this stuff because I'm an avid backpacker. So I've used all this stuff in the field, but this one you sometimes see. It used to be real popular about 10 years ago, and I bet Tom McHale would love this. It's purifying water with ultraviolet light.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
It's called the
Okay.
SteriPen.
Yeah.
And I used it a lot when I was backpacking. Long-time listeners and viewers know I've had a new knee a year ago, so I'm slowly getting back into it. We've started hiking more, but prior to that, I backpacked quite a bit, and I really like this thing. It's real simple. You push the button, you put it down into a bottle of water, stir it around for how many ever, I forget. It times itself out, and then you have ready to drink water. It doesn't clean the bugs out of the water. It just renders them
You
sterile.
get the particulate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
You know what it's like? It's like drinking homemade beer. You get all the yeasty stuff when you
That's
drink
true.
it, but it's safe, but it tastes a little weird texture, right?
Where I always used it was in places where the water looked clean enough to drink, but you knew there was like giardia and all that kind of stuff. So the reason I bring it up, aside from just the fun, cool factor, is I don't think this is a good preparedness item because of that very reason. I've talked to a lot of folks that I've worked some floods around here, but I've never been like in the middle of a big one. But talking to folks like storm surge, first of all, it may be salty. Second of all, it's probably got diesel fuel and sewage and all that kind of stuff. This isn't a good option for that. That's going to tax the other filters for sure, but not so much. So anyway,
I'm a big fan of the gravity systems like the one you showed.
Yeah.
Used those on hikes before, and that's the way to go. Just let the drip do its thing while you're doing other things,
Just let the drip happen, baby.
I had a friend, he was a kayaker, and I guess there was something about where he used to kayak that he had the membrane gravity type filter too, and then he had one of those SteriPens. And so basically he would filter his water and get it to the point to where it's clean now, and then he would hit it with a SteriPen just to be like extra safe. This is killing everything. And I thought, well, that makes sense, because I agree with you. It's like if you have some muddy water and you stick your SteriPen in it, well, now you have drinkable muddy water.
Well, and there's some stuff that gets through filters, some boogers that get through there too. So depending on the filter and the boogers you're talking about. So
I think the big thing is, if you're gonna, I consider these the backup systems to your primary source of water. But like we've talked about, you probably can't have enough stored for a long-term use. So I think it's important to have a backup, but you need to understand how it works and have actually tried it beforehand. So I think that's my big takeaway. Whatever you choose to, even if you're just going to boil it, like Roy said, actually try it and see what it's like. And you know how long it takes water to cool down? A long time.
A year, I think.
Yeah, it's a year, And I think again, people tend to they want to overthink everything. It's like when a reader used to write in and say, well, I need a home defense gun. What should I buy? And I would say, well, what gun do you have? And he would say, well, I have a 4-inch Smith & Wesson 38. And it's like, okay, well, that works fine. And so before you overthink it and go out and buy all this stuff, remember, like Brent said, you've got your hot water heater. So there's 30 to 40 gallons. You've got 4 or 5 gallons in each of your toilets, however many toilets you have. And so chances are, what do you have in your refrigerator? I don't know, a couple gallons of milk, who knows what else in there. Without even really trying, you're probably sitting on 50 or 60 gallons of potable water, which frankly is probably enough to keep you going for a couple weeks.
Are you allowed to do like jujitsu against your dog when you're fighting for the toilet water? Or how does that work? What's the etiquette? Like, who has first priority to the toight water?
They can
you slam the lid down real hard.
That's right. No, bad dog.
Okay, well, we veered off into strange territory. So I think that's about it for water. Truly one of probably our most important resources. So be thinking about it, because it's something you really, really do need in your preparedness supplies. So let's go ahead and we'll end here, and we'll start up with our next episode, which is going to be talking about power, heat, and light. So we will see you in the next episode of The Gun Cranks.